Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Hedera and HBAR, so let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here from HBAR to the moon. So we do see SaucerSwap is taking DeFi incentives to a whole new level with single-sided sauce staking coming soon. So if you stake sauce, you'll receive swap fees across all SaucerSwap Labs liquidity pools, yield farm emissions, and even HBAR native staking rewards. This is huge. We've been talking about SaucerSwap for a while. I think that Sauce is actually a pretty good token to be holding. Maybe don't go fully in. I have an issue, and I don't know if you guys are like this as well. I even talked about this slightly about XRP and like community tokens. I stay away from these tokens because of the risk associated with them. And I'm not saying anything bad about SaucerSwap or anything like that. We did the AMA. I think that the team is great. I think that their vision is awesome. I think that Sauce is a great token. But I just don't endorse or talk about them at all. The reason why I don't talk about these tokens, by the way, just real quick, fully transparent, I don't get paid to talk about any tokens on this channel. I don't get sponsored to talk about any tokens on this channel. And also, just real quick, you have my promise that no matter how large this channel gets, we could be at 1 million subscribers tomorrow. If I'm getting hit up to do sponsored videos, I'm 100% denying them. I do not need that money at all. I'm not going to sit here and talk about tokens that I personally don't believe in. But the reason why I talk about this is because with XRP, there was a token that got listed on the XRP ledger, which was Fire, I think, and a ton of influencers in the XRP space talked about it, and it turned out that it was one massive rug pull. This is why I'm always weary about talking about these tokens. A lot of people have asked me about Sauce. I think that's a good token. I just would be I would be a little bit more on the cautious side. But nonetheless, when we talk about SaucerSwap, I've always said that I love the designs around it. I love the UI. Currently, we have about almost $3 million in trade volume, which is very good. We also see the total value locked sitting at about almost 19 million. This is great to see. I honestly think that this is awesome. And you can check out more of their analytics over here. So currently, this is their analytics. I don't know if this is going to fully update for me. So there we go. So sitting at about like $19 million almost in total value locked. This is actually up pretty good. I mean, like back in September 6th, we were sitting at about like 15.5. So this is up significantly. Volume also looking pretty good. I mean, listen, the volume on this thing is great. You could see some of the tokens in terms of liquidity, where a lot of the liquidity is parked. It's mostly in HBAR as a token, HBAR-X as well, Sauce. You could see some of the pools. Most of the pools in terms of liquidity is HBAR with HBAR-X, which is still offering a pretty good APR. The highest APR right now is, I don't even know. I haven't looked at this. So Hex with HBAR. We also see like Meta and HBAR. Again, not a lot of liquidity here. Like there's only $36 in liquidity for this, so I would be cautious with that. Usually, I kind of go for the ones that are like more sustainable, like 4.44% APR is not that great, but I would go more so for like USDC with HBAR, which is like 16%, which is very lucrative. But yeah, very good. You know what's funny about this though? I have been paying attention to the DeFi space. DeFi space market cap is down astronomically. I remember when the DeFi space was sitting at like it was like 150 to even like $250 billion, and now we're sitting at like $55.4 billion. And I think that this capitalization is actually wrong over on CMC. CMC has been very wrong on a lot of things. We actually go and look at the DeFi index perpetual futures. Now, of course, futures is a little bit different. Look at how dead the on-balance volume is. On-balance volume, by the way, peaked back in April. The chart peaked back in May. This also tells me, by the way, that the market actually peaked back in May of 2021 as well, which was always my idea around this space. I actually think that we topped out back in May, and I think that the scam wick in November, where everything really kind of topped out, was not our actual high. I think that was just a dead cat bounce, to be completely honest with you guys. But we did make a new higher high. But yeah, this shows me that the DeFi space is basically dead. We start to break out a little bit here, which is very good. I think that we could kind of, pump up to about this. Currently, the 200 daily EMA at about 3,741. I think that this is in the billions, so they're only saying that the DeFi space is sitting at about like $29.5 billion, which is interesting here. And I might be wrong on this. Maybe they're not looking at the billions. I am not sure how they are calculating this because, again, like to CMC to this is different. Of course, this is from FTX, so it might be a little bit off. Not too sure, but excuse me. You can kind of tell that the DeFi space has been slaughtered. We've been looking at HBAR as well. I mean, HBAR's price action, you guys probably know it, has been slaughtered. But we are building on a nice floor here. I always say, like, this is a launch pad. When it's in accumulation and it's been accumulating for so long, it's like a launch pad. On the daily, check out the daily on this. We started to break out above all EMAs, which is very good. Let's see if we hold this area, would be very beneficial too. And what we are targeting is that 200 daily EMA up there on that blue line at about roughly 9.5 cents. And if we can break above that, flip that fib level into support, which is currently at the 236 at about like 9.5 cents, then we would be onward and upward to test the summer demand zone, which would be at about 13.5 cents, which would be very good because going off of the lows, and I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, this is not that significant of a jump. Listen, during a bear market, we welcome any money-making pumps. This would be about 146% of a run up, and I think that that would be very interesting to watch. A lot of tokens have done a very good bounce and jump. For an example, here's XRP. So again, we're kind of going off the topping point on these fib levels to the bottom range. So if we go back to where we kind of topped out, this is the April time frame. We've been looking at a lot of these tokens to see what's going to happen next. A lot of them have broken out above their 200 EMAs, as you guys do see on this chart. By the way, XRP building out a nice floor model on the 236, which is very nice to see. But this broke above the 236, broke above the 200 daily EMA, and this would be very cool to see if HBAR is going to do this, because again, even just to the 200 daily EMA, this thing would be about a 70% run up. To break above this fib level would be like a 75% run up. And again, XRP is very similar to HBAR in the sense of like the community. The communities have been converging a little bit recently. Now, of course, QNT. So QNT, let me go to not the Binance chart. Let me go to the KuCoin one. So QNT has been in a world of its own. I've actually been charting this differently just for the sake of a correction being put in. So let me go and look at from the macro going all the way back to the topping point of September. This thing did top out at around the same time that HBAR did. So this actually breached out to almost a 786. The 786 on HBAR would be, well, it's actually a little bit above the 702. This would be about almost 30 cents. That would be crazy if we did that. Now, again, I would say QNT compared to HBAR, it's a lot harder to move HBAR than it is to move QNT because the supply, the community is also, crazier on QNT. But, this thing did, excuse me, this thing did a nice run up. I mean, a 474% run up from the bottom. I don't go off the scam book, by the way. I don't usually look at that. But like I said, 474% would bring it right to about like 30 some cents. This would be a huge move on HBAR if we did see it. And also, it would be a perfect dead cat bounce during a bear market where we kind of see, well, I shouldn't say a dead cat bounce. It would be more of like a scam pump, and it would trap a lot of people in. They would FOMO in, and then all of a sudden a massive crash would happen again. But is that the case? It's hard to say. I mean, I think that if we did see a run up like this, it would most likely start a higher continuation, and we might even break out to a new all-time high if that was the case. So I think that that's an unlikely scenario, but I thought that that was just kind of interesting. On the weekly for QNT, I don't know what EMAs this outreached above, but if we are looking at it, so let's look at it real quick. So yeah, I mean, this thing jumped up above all EMAs on the weekly. HBAR's weekly EMAs. So, yeah, very similar to what I was really kind of looking at. It's about like 13 cents. I think 13 cents would be fair I think that the 382 would be a perfect area of it to kind of pump to and then have a rejection off of. It's very similar to some of the other charts that I've looked at in crypto. Most coins are doing some nice moves. A lot of them are starting to jump out a little bit. Recently, they started to break down a little bit because obviously, Bitcoin started to pump out a little bit. Or I should say Bitcoin dominance started to gain some momentum while Bitcoin started to pump out. So a lot of altcoins kind of got a little bit, thrown down the stairs. We have been looking at altcoins like Dogecoin, how it outreached at 382, and I think that I was actually comparing Dogecoin with HBAR recently and looking at where they could outreach to. It's funny because these two are at very similar structures in terms of what they have done during the summertime and where they would outreach to if HBAR did follow Dogecoin structure, which would be at the 382, almost 14 cents for Dogecoin and almost 14 cents for HBAR as well. And what I would like to see is what Dogecoin's kind of doing right now is a pump up, finding support above the 50-day the 50 weekly EMA and kind of having some floor building out. Now, is that possible for HBAR? 100%. I think that HBAR has been kind of accumulating here, and we are waiting for a significant break, but we are still trading at resistance even on the weekly, which is at the 10 weekly EMA at about roughly 6 cents. Haven't looked too much into the Bitcoin price chart for HBAR, but this does not look good to me. I think that we need to have a significant break here. I haven't looked at any of the fib levels because I haven't charted this in so long. Like, I have not looked at this in so long. It's been, I'd honestly say months since I've looked at the Bitcoin price chart for this. Again, scam wick because we're using Binance. So going off of the actual low here, yeah, we still need a lot more here. First off, you could clearly see that the 10 weekly EMA has been completely screwing us. We need a lot more volume. We need to push above these EMAs. I would argue that we even need to push above the 20 weekly EMA to even think about being bullish on HBAR in terms of price action. Doesn't mean that we can't be bullish on everything else. I'm just saying if we wanted to see a breakout, we would want to see a breakout above the 236 at about roughly 362 sats. Sorry, I had to move it a little bit. So that's what we are looking at in terms of the price chart. I'm not excited. Right now, it's more of an accumulation zone for me. And I'd say as we really kind of go into the weekend, very similar to my XLM video, I'm not trying to buy anything during the weekend, especially as we do see Bitcoin breaking out. I know that we've been eyeing Bitcoin for a little bit of time. The Bitcoin index has started to break out above the 10 weekly EMA, so this is actually pretty bullish for Bitcoin. I'm expecting a breakdown at some point in time, most likely at around the resistance zone of 21.8K. Will most likely get thrown down the stairs a little bit, might find some support and have continuation, but next week is going to be crucial to see if Bitcoin's price action is going to continue and to see if altcoins are going to have a little bit of a back seat or if they will follow it. One thing that I have noticed is Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is still below a lot of resistance. Really kind of trading on a floor here. So I would say if we find support here and this breaks above, then we could see altcoins like even HBAR get tossed for a little bit of a ride. And what I mean by that is, well, we are looking at some nice lows being printed out on the chart. We might retest 5.5 cents, or we might even come down to test that scam wick at about 4.5 cents. And I'm just saying, this is why I've also been looking at Q&T at some nice lows. Now, is this in question around HBAR? Anything could happen. So, I'm not saying wait for this to happen. I'm just saying if you have a plan, I've been averaging in. Most of these altcoins, like HBAR, are down significantly as they continue to expand. I mean, like I said, this thing already was down 90%. This could have easily bottomed out. Again, Bitcoin could have easily have bottomed out. It's funny, this Bitcoin dominance made a new low as of recent, and then had this spike up, which caused a lot of altcoins to kind of take a back seat. Again, Bitcoin dominance could easily crash altcoins a little bit more. I've said this time and time again, even with Q&T. Bitcoin dominance is like the key to watch. It's the fundamental key. So with that being said, is HBAR about to break out? Well, if Bitcoin plays the game next week, we could see a lot of these altcoins kind of break out, but they're all trading at resistance. So I'm not going to get excited until they break out of resistance. That's the biggest thing to watch for. So again, price action, not too bullish, not too bearish, kind of neutral until we see more price action later on next week. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, guys. Definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As says up that you all have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.